This meeting will come to order, the Community Preservation Act Committee, and it is 7 minutes after 6, and today is September 17th, and we're going to take the first item on the agenda, which is acceptance of the minutes from July 16th, 30th, 8th, and what was the fourth one? I'm sorry. The fourth ones were 20th, August 20th was our last big meeting. So everybody got copies of those and had a chance to look at them. Was there any questions? The only one that I had a question about was, it said under the minutes for the August 8th, no, not August 8th, these July 30th, it says, Item 1, problem with the official job posting by the city's personnel department regarding benefits for our administrative assistant project manager position. And then when you read it, it doesn't even talk about that. I guess we really didn't discuss that, that whole situation.
Because of the time these two, the 30th and August 8th, are a quick run by Ryan from our tapes. I can clean this up because I do know what the problem with the posting was. Okay. And I can just revise it so that it is clear what the problem with the posting was.
All right, very good. Okay, so that was my only concern. Everything else seemed to be very, very well done and good. So do I have a motion to accept all 4 sets of minutes?
So moved.
As potentially amended, because I'm going to be amending these.
As potentially amended.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the budget for fiscal 2019. Andrew and Amy. Where is Amy? Was she up in our office?
No, I think she was running late, but she said she did.
Okay. All right, so you can go ahead, Andrew. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been working with Amy, and I also had a meeting with the Preservation Coalition, Amy and Ms. Pluta this week to go over a better way to present this budget. This is a work in progress, but I have it split into 2 fiscal years of approved budgets. There's 5 budgeted accounts that you can, so we have the administrative fund, historic, open space, housing, budgeted reserve. There's a revolving account, which is the first item, and that is after a fiscal year closes, funds from leftover in the administrative or the budgeted reserve fall into that. I made some copies here, but only had a few large ones, and kind of wanted to, I have some small ones for those of you with the keen eyesight, like Mimi. Yep.
I see well with my glasses off.
Take one of these too.
Yeah, we can put one of these in the binder.
Okay.
That'll be great.
So this is, so the way we were running the budget was based on the actual funds that we collected. We did not make any payments until we had that, but the proper way to do it with a city budget is we can have a budget approved for a fiscal year on July 1st. Those funds for that year that goes until June 30th of the next year will not get in until springtime, or fully in until almost June. So that we reconcile the approved budget with that amount that comes in throughout the year, nearly at the end of the fiscal year. That's what we did here. You see in 2018 fiscal year, 450,000 approved. It was distributed amongst the 5 accounts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts as we have on there and that we've talked about numerous times. But when the actual collections came in, they were 497,000, slightly above what we budgeted. That excess, you see the revolving account right next to it, is the $47,000 is the difference between what was budgeted and what actually came in.
I don't, excuse me, Andrew, I don't follow you.
Okay, sorry. I'll slow down.
Okay, wait, in green, it's actual collections versus the budget. 497 is the actual?
Actual collections.
Okay, and green, okay.
And then you see one step over, it's under the account. So I tried to break everything into their individual accounts as well. So. So there's a carry forward line that's dark green below that, and then there's a total funding line at the very bottom of this. So as of this year, we're in fiscal year 19, this is the actual amount of money that we have as a committee. We have a 19 budget approved, but we are gonna go send up an amendment because it did not include the state match on the list, which I'm going to work with Amy to have that done this month. We have until they set the tax rate to do that, which is in December. So, let's see. So the way I have the expenses now, so some of these expenses did come in after July 1st, but I have them according to where they were approved by the committee. I am gonna go back and check with the Coalition Committee, Preservation Committee, to make sure that is accurate, and, you see some of those expenses at the top there, did not hit till this summer.
Andrew, just to go back to FY '18, their collections of $497,000. What is 306? The revolving account has 306.
So that 306, if you look over, you'll see a negative 292,500 and a negative 13,868. Those are the two funds in fiscal year 18 that were swept at the close of the fiscal year that fall into the revolving account. That's where it goes after. The 10% that we set aside in the other three areas, housing, open space, and historic, that carries over forever. So if you look down below in the dark green, you see the 45,000 carry forward. And then at the second dark green, total funding, you'll see that is included with the 10% that we set aside for this year to get 98,835.
No, you lost me. I can't follow you. I really
No,
can't follow you.
I'll slow it down and try to explain this. I've been working hard at this, so I'm talking quick.
Okay, I understand the 13,000 and the 297. Those are budgeted reserves.
And the excess of the administrative for fiscal year 18. Those two together are swept at the end of the year into our revolving account.
Okay, and what's the present amount of the revolving account?
The present amount of the revolving account is $353,368.71.
Okay, where is that on this page? I don't see it.
It's in the dark green.
Dark green, yeah, here.
Oh, I can't see it.
I know.
I can't
It
see
looks
it.
great on my computer screen. Sorry, guys.
Oh, carry forward. All right.
Yeah, it's right here.
All right. So, if I understand you correctly, we presently have $353,000 in our account,
In our
reserve account.
just the revolve account. So if there's money in all these accounts. If we take a look at the bottom line is the total balances. The other dark green one at the very bottom.
I think you might have to meet with Mike and go over it separate with him, because it's very complicated, and if you don't mind, or Amy and I could meet with them,
I don't mind, and
go over it into more detail, or unless are all of you, is everyone else following this, okay? Okay. The problem, Mike, is that we have two.
If you guys want to move on.
No, I just want to say that we have two budgets that we have to carry forward. We have a budget that we have to give to the mayor, the city council, and the coalition, okay?
That's an annual budget.
An annual budget overall. Then, for our own details, we have to keep a budget of our own to know where we are with expenses and revenue, so that we know what we're doing every day here.
Right.
As we move forward.
Right.
The city council, the mayor, and the coalition don't need to know those details. They don't need to have, but we do. We, as a committee, need to know these details.
I understand.
So that's why there's so much information on here, is because we have to do two budgets moving forward.
This evening, we're closing up FY '18 and beginning FY '19.
Yes, you could say that, yes, at this point in time, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
no. So I mean, I'm open to questions now. I know I'm probably confusing some of you, so please, I'll try to
I'm good so
explain.
far.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
So, in the left-hand column, the approved budget, we anticipated we were gonna have 450,000. We actually Collected 497.
Yes, and so what we anticipate, which we're working on updating for fiscal year 19 still, is what we have to operate all year, regardless of what we collect. The excess, or if we anticipate more and actually run a deficit, has to come, that gets reconciled after the tax collections.
The 2019 in that column, the 485, that's the budgeted.
That's what we anticipate, plus the 53,350, which I have to set up for approval, because I did not include this state match yet. So the 538 is what we anticipate for fiscal year 19.
And that's anticipated, it's not realized yet.
Right.
So that will, this bottom one will get adjusted.
We'll get a
when we
light
get
green
our
column.
Actual collections of
Yep.
what it was and that, but right now budgeted and actual collections, we have $1 million and
Yes.
change in
I know.
that's total collected revenues for.
No.
No,
No.
Okay. Well, anticipated
Right.
and.
Yes, collected
Exactly.
plus our operating
Combination.
plan.
Right.
So, and on the light yellows, there's room for two columns here. The red is what we actually pay out. And as we approve line items through the year, I meant to put on here what we approve for the salaries so far. I'll have it over here, approve them out, and then it'll make more sense. But this, I've been working on this since Sunday.
And then the other columns, like where the 10% to 10% to 10%, and then the,
Budget,
what do we call it?
budgeted reserve.
So this is the 10% of the estimated collection.
Yes.
And
The budgeted reserve is the remainder.
So under these, this carries down, so we didn't spend anything in any of those yet.
Right,
So
and
that
we.
accumulates for.
Yes, and it
2000.
always stays within those areas. So like the 45,000
Right, you
plus
have to
this
spend
year's
it.
10%.
But the other 70 minus the administrative is in this left-hand column.
Yes.
And that rolls over and can go into any of these columns as, under any of the
It could,
programs. When they're,
but, so it goes into my revolving account.
Yeah.
We keep budget, so it's
Right.
two similar
got
accounts.
it, got it. So these will always be 10%, but then this money's gonna
And then
get
we move
split
it.
over to here, and then it may get allocated to any of
Yes.
those. Got it.
if I may, there's two things to remember. The 10% that we allocate for each of our categories always rolls on forward, but the administrative budget, the 5%, does not. That goes into the next year's fund balance. Everything that's left over from 2018 goes into a fund balance, and that's what we're going to be working from for 2019 for our projects.
Yes.
In other words, our administrative money that we had left over from 2018 is going to go into fund balance so that we're going to use that on projects for 2019.
And the budget.
For administration.
And the
No.
budget,
No,
and the
for
budget.
You lose it.
And the budget.
We lose it. We have
Yes, exactly.
2019, 5% administrative, but whatever was left over from 2018 does not go into the administrative budget.
We
It
are
goes
restricted
into
to 5% administrative
That's
budget.
right. Yes.
Well, that being said, how much is left over from FY '18, from an administrative?
I can answer that. $13,868.71,
Which is right there. Okay, 13, okay. Why is that a negative?
because I dropped it into the revolving account. Because it does not carry over. Administrative,
okay, I got you.
everybody else over here, the other three accounts carried over, so there's no negative below it.
So we did, so to understand you correctly, on administration for FY '18, we didn't spend 13 grand.
Right,
Correct.
that's correct.
Why didn't we?
Well, that's okay. We spend as little as we need to, yes.
It goes into projects.
We didn't lose it. It could be, yes, it is
You
better.
have your printer, Amy?
Why would,
You have your printer?
what would we have spent it on?
That's
thought
what
you
I'm,
meant
that,
with
a
me.
printer.
No, no,
get one
that
this
has
year.
to go in 2019, not
Well, it
2018.
was just a question,
She wasn't even
vis-a-vis
hired,
the-
she was not hired in 2018.
I know, but it just,
So, we didn't.
She has a printer and she,
And we may expend our 100% of our budget in 2019.
yes.
Yeah.
It
We
may
will
not- That
definitely.
may not roll over.
Oh, never,
We
no
may
chance.
run out.
We didn't get this money until April,
Right.
so,
Right, we were careful, we didn't want to spend money we didn't have.
okay, so
Now we
to
can,
understand
is
you
what you're
correctly, I'm sorry.
we still have it.
We still have it, but it's not in the administrative category. It's in the general fund category.
Which can be allocated to any of the three main
But it can't be
categories,
put back into administration.
except for administrative.
It can't be put back.
Nope.
Okay, no,
That's
that's
the
all right.
problem.
All right, I understand.
I'm going to get in touch with the coalition and ask them to lobby the legislature to allow us, not just us, but all the CPAs across the state, to be able to carry that administrative money forward. We can use that this year.
Well,
We need it.
we are tight and administrative, but it is, I think it's a valid point. You know, we have to be as lean as we can to put this money into those three areas.
Right, that's the goal.
that is the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what is budget for administration? What's budgeted for FY '19? The amount, the dollar amount?
$26,917.50.
Yeah, are we going to discuss what will be budget, like how many hours I can take going forward based on that budget?
Not at this
it's-
point, no.
Oh,
We'll talk about that after, now that we have this. We didn't have this.
but wasn't that part of what we were going to discuss for this meeting?
Well, I don't know.
We mentioned that, because I don't know how many hours I can take. Remember you said I can take,
Right, especially with projects coming in. so-
Right,
yeah, I'm taking lots of hours because it's very time consuming, so that was what we
right.
had to.
But we don't know how much you're getting every week now. It changes every week, so we have to get an idea of what your average is gonna be. It's gonna take more calculations. I mean, if you guys wanna talk about that
But I just
now,
need to know how many hours I can take per week.
you just,
But what are you at this point?
Let's see if I have it with me. Last week I did 24 and a half hours, so I can easily continue to do like at least 20 hours a week,
Right.
if not more. Up to
Calculator.
maybe 25. There's a lot to do, so.
Right.
we can't afford that. But there's gonna be some weeks that you're not
That's
gonna
right.
need to work 20 hours.
So while,
Divided by-
So
How do
that's-
you know you
this
can
is an
afford it?
important time when we have
Right.
projects coming in. So this is when
Yeah,
you
but just
use
in total,
There's
like,
also a
times
learning
52,
curve
since that
because
would be
there's all
almost-
this, what we're learning for the first time.
Right.
So I really have to have a sense of how many hours
I
I can
agree.
work.
Well, we have a budget of $27,000.
Well, no, it's down to $22,850 if we look at the bottom.
Okay, so 22,850. Even if all of the administrative budget went to
Gonna have to
salary,
Gonna have to be between Amy, and here's the other part, is we have Ryan to pay too, so we have to figure this out.
We do.
can't-
This is a separate
We
item.
can't do this tonight. I mean,
So I would just continue on the
Yes.
road that you're on. So if you're averaging 20 hours a week, then I would continue.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows
Yeah,
that that's what
that's
I'm
okay.
don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's the learning curve, but it's also when applications are coming in and there's gonna be down months when we don't need to put in that kind of time. So this is an
This is
important
busy
time.
season.
Yes,
this is our
And-
Christmas.
this is Christmas.
And we need to settle with Ryan too, because Hector didn't like the way we had originally planned to do our payment of him per hour. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to pay him by the hour, but monthly. And so he needs a new letter and a new calculation from us as to how much he's going to get paid by the month. So, I don't know, Ryan has to give us that information of what he's going to be charging by the month, so we can divide it by 12, and then we'll know what he's going to be, or the average. We're going to have an
Right.
average, because just like Amy, he's going to have months where he's working more hours than other months. So that's another whole meeting.
Yeah, I wonder whether it's worthwhile to appoint a subcommittee or to handle that. It sounds like a great deal of detailed work that the entire committee doesn't have to sit for.
Exactly. I agree. Who would like to volunteer for that subcommittee?
Definitely Andrew.
We have 800 hours in our budget. That would be $20,000 of cost. $800 remaining this year. So we'll have to figure out how to spread that out.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Andrew, did you say that again? I didn't.
800 man hours.
Okay, so Amy has her disposal 800 man-hours?
So
No, we need to,
between her and Ryan, and that leaves us with no other administrative capability.
And we
Okay.
won't have any money left over. And
So we should
we should be okay
Yeah.
with
think about
that.
this.
So we do need to think about it.
We won't be able to buy printers or anything else, or if anything goes wrong, so we'll have to try
The
to.
city gave me a printer.
Yeah,
so-
so we-
No,
we-
I know, but I mean, if something goes wrong, we can't buy any equipment.
It's tight.
Yeah,
And
it's very tight, and we should have a reserve against emergencies.
Right. And supplies, she needs
So-
supplies as we go along.
Okay. Well, if nobody else will volunteer to be on this with Andrew, I will.
Thank you.
No, I will too, because I
Okay.
have to
Guys are
be the
better
mediator
at
at
numbers
the
than I am.
end.
I'll sit in with you guys too, not that I'll be in any help, but I'll sit in when you guys have a meeting.
All right, let me write those names down just to make sure I got everybody. Mimi. Okay, thank you very much for that. Anything else right now on the budget? Is everyone can
Everyone
take this home and look at
Thoroughly
it?
confused?
No, no, actually, I agree.
No, I think it's good, because I think if you don't get it, you take it home and look at it, and if you have questions, you can either email Andrew, email him, because he is the treasurer.
Can
so-
I also get a large-scale version of that?
Yes, do you have an
I have one
extra
for Amy.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, keep this one for the binder, that's all.
For what, the binder?
Binder,
Okay. The
okay.
binder's getting full.
Yeah, I bet.
Binder number 2?
Right, yeah, no, we just need more those plastic sleeves.
All right.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to accept the budget for fiscal 2019?
Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion at this point? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Well, Libby's not here, so I will just leave that tabled. Item number 4, the rules and changes to the election. I just wanted you to look at it, that Article 3, real quick, and see if I put in the right wording. Did I do that right before we move forward here on these rules?
It looks fine to me.
It's okay, the way it's worded? That's what we discussed and changed, the Article 3, the first.
Actually, city council's one-year appointment, now that I focus on it. Maybe just say city council's annual appointment to the open at-large seat.
Okay. Say that again.
City councils.
Annual appointment.
At that time, following the city
get
council's
re-upped.
annual appointment, okay, annual.
Here.
Everybody agree
Haven't
with
got the
that?
firing squad yet.
No, you're here until they do something. Yeah,
Until they tell me.
unfortunately, you're stuck.
Stuck with us.
Okay, so does everybody like
I
that
sent
better?
them an
In-
email, by the way, this is an update, I sent an email to Ryan.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
interested, let me know if you need anything else.
That's all right, yeah, that's
That's-
fine.
So, it's out of my control.
Okay, very good. You did your due diligence.
I did what I was asked to do.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I changed that to annual, so now this is gonna go in the binder, these are our final rules, and I need to make that change on the computer and give you the right,
Can I just ask, sorry, what was the change that was made?
Just
Oh, right here.
simplified the wording.
yeah.
The
Cit-
wording.
Annual, right here,
Oh.
instead of once a year, annual.
Oh, you just changed the word?
Okay? All right, so we're all set with that, and we don't need to send this back to the law department.
Okay, motion to
yeah.
accept the rules as amended.
Yes,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Update on CPA ordinance change. I don't know why I put Ryan's name on there. I don't know. I know why, because what's the story? It's in committee in the city council.
It's actually recommended for adoption,
Oh, okay.
so,
Okay, all right, so you'll send me a copy and I'll send it out to everybody? Okay, so this is gonna be, I don't know if you guys ever read the ordinance, but this is gonna be a change to one of the paragraphs in the ordinance to coordinate with our dates. They put in their own dates in the beginning, And so these are going to be our dates now. So we'll table that till the next meeting. Okay. Update on project manager office. How's your office coming, Amy?
It's pretty good. The only thing I'm worried about is the cold in the winter, because there's a big gap in one of the gigantic windows.
Work harder.
I'm
Just
working-
kidding, just kidding.
So, yeah, it's good. It's, it's a little difficult for me to explain where I am, because some people think the second floor, like I was going to call it the second floor, room 6. There's another room 6 in City Hall. So, a lot of people don't think of my floor, the ballroom floor, as the second floor. They think of the floor below as the second floor. So I spoke to somebody, the tax collector, I think, who suggested I'd call it the top floor, even though it's not really the top floor.
Ballroom floor.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, maybe I should do that, because I'm working on the stationery, that I can use with but I don't know if like an average outsider would they know what ballroom floor means? I mean, it's the only, it's the top floor, it's the uppermost floor where people
Can actually go.
exist. There are some
Can't put bells on.
uninhabited floors above me that are really not habitable.
So what is it on the elevator? Third?
No, 2.
It's 2. Well, then I would just say second floor.
Yeah. That's
Well,
Figure it out.
I don't know. It was a problem with getting my supplies delivered, and there was a lot of confusion, and so we came up with top floor,
Okay.
room 6.
Okay.
So,
I think that's,
yeah,
see how that works.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I have a printer, so that's really great, and I have supplies and
And we're working on
computer
the,
and phone. My
computer.
phone has a strange quirk where it comes up as a conference room in the annex when I call out, within the city. So, but I'll, work that out hopefully. So,
Did you ever get
So we
a-
have a laptop that's.
Oh, you do?
I just got back, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming your way.
Okay.
oh yeah,
was
I
sick, and
emailed
then I was
him.
gone.
He said I might be able to get it tomorrow, so
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
So
thank you.
Conklin is
Super.
digging
Thank you for
around
that.
for laptops.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, Andrew, did her supplies, did that come, have you got that accounted for?
$274.47.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the number might be slightly changed.
I'll be all over it.
Do you get that information without my telling you then?
I do. But I'm dealing with the assessor and the tax collector, and
That on the Munis system.
no, I get a report from them,
Okay,
from
and
the
they
Muni
see it.
systems, yes.
Great. Okay, excellent.
Amy, to highlight, is there any heat, do you have any heat whatsoever in your room?
Well, no, I don't think they've started up the heat yet.
But you have air conditioning.
There's air conditioning in
You have radiators, though?
there. Are radiators, yeah.
Okay, well, if
There's several.
we'll wait and see how it works. Is there something you can stuff in the hole for now? To,
Well, I don't know, but I did send an email to somebody who might be able, I forget which department, that might be able to seal up the windows.
oh, it
but
must be DPW?
They haven't gotten back to me, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's DPW.
Yeah,
Also, I do have a sign on my door, so
good.
the hours and all that, so.
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions for Amy about her accommodations? Okay, we can go on to the next thing. All right, Amy, you're still on? The
Yeah,
other
I want
projects?
to apologize for running late. There were some things that, when I was collating all the documents, I discovered that one of them was had cut off what the applicant had typed. So it's very tricky dealing with the application form, because it's sort of a Word document that becomes a PDF and then goes on the website, and there are fields that, a person putting the information could maybe scroll down, but when it's printed, it can cut off. So that was something I ran into. So that was what I was actually busy collating everything for you. So, but anyway, okay. So I'll give an update. We
This is the
received.
exciting
okay.
time. It's
So
project time.
yeah.
Yay.
So we received 13 eligibility forms. 13, yeah. And The first, I organized them by the sections, so, and I've tried to organize them within the folders that I'll distribute. So there were two that are open space recreation related. Do you want to know, like, who the applicant was and all that, the detail of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So boys and this is all in what you'll get, so it's, I tried to list it here. Boys and Girls Club of Greater Holyoke. So there's this for a location 70 Nick Cosmos Way, and it's, so this is an open space or a recreation project, really. They're asked, you know, now, keep in mind that with these, what we're really trying to focus on is the eligibility of the project.
Right.
So it's not really, it doesn't really matter the other details, like whether they have the co-applicant or who, you know, all that is, or how much money. It's just, is it eligible? But anyway, I will tell you that they're asking for $105,000. That's the amount. And this is all in what you don't have to write it down because you're going to
No,
get it
it's
all.
coming, yeah.
I put like sort of like a table of contents. So the next one is Glue Tech Property.
It's
Glotech?
Glotech,
Okay, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not pronouncing this. The
Glotech
location
Fields.
of the project is Rock Valley Road. So the applicant is Kestrel Trust. And it's, they put sort of a ballpark 150 to 175,000 for that. So that's a acquire, create, preserve project.
It's a, yeah, that's a 50-acre project.
Oh,
Yes.
That's not the gun club.
No, it's the Glotech property on Rock Valley Road. Yeah. So, and so that one I'm a part of, so I'm gonna have to make sure. Yeah, so I am a part of that project with, I'm Kestrel Land Trust. And Conservation is joining forces on that.
so is that a?
It's an open space wildlife project
But
to,
I mean, is that a conflict of interest?
It is,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, so you'll have to.
yes, so I can't,
Okay.
so that's all I'm gonna
You
say
might have
about
to
that
recuse
project.
yourself or whatever.
Yes,
Okay.
totally.
So then, those are the only two open space recreation. And then there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 historic. So most of them are historic.
Oh, that's good.
The first one is Maple Street Revitalization at 346 to 356 Maple Street. And that's for $42,876. Then the next is Flats Community Buildings Headquarters, 43 Canal Street. That's, the first one that I mentioned was Down Home Properties LLC is the applicant. And then the Flats Community Building Headquarters at 43 Canal Street is One Holyoke CDC. They're asking for $75,000. The next one is Flats Community Buildings Headquarters. The location is 43 Canal Street. Okay, I think I repeated that one twice. So that's going to be twice on your sheet. Just, wait, hold on, let me just double check this one too. Okay, yeah, so I wrote it twice, so you'll just disregard that. The next one is Holyoke Stained Glass Windows Restoration. That's from the Department of Public Works and Friends of Holyoke City Hall. And they're asking for $75,000. Smith's Ferry Cemetery Restoration.
Nice.
Smith's Ferry Cemetery Restoration to, restore the headstones on Route 5, Northampton Street. That's the Friends of Holyoke Historic Cemetery and Parks and Recreation as a co-applicant. And they're asking for $5,300.
Ah, son of a bitch.
Then annex lanterns to rehabilitate and restore the annex lanterns that are, outside, or supposed to be outside the annex at 536R Dwight Street.
Yep.
Friends of Holyoke, City Hall, DPW is involved in that, and they're asking for $500. And then
Awesome.
the next one is.
Yeah, I like the little micro grants.
The next one is MIFA, I forget what it stands for.
FIFA,
Yeah, MIFA, I forget what it stands for.
Massachusetts insert.
Yeah,
Fine
Fine Arts Victory Theater. So 8189 Suffolk Street, preserve and rehabilitate, and that's, they're asking for $200,000. and, or that's what they hope for. And then the next one is Wisteria Hearst, the Bell Skinner Music Room, $20,000 to preserve and rehabilitate. And the next one is, the project is a developer incentive for the H.H. Richardson train station at 12 Bowers Street, preserve and rehabilitate. And the applicant is Holyoke Redevelopment Authority and HG&E, $150,000. And then this gets us into the more complicated historic and affordable housing category. So these are people who, there's nothing that was just affordable housing. These kind of fit, or at least the people believe they fit into both, that's, you know, both categories, but we'll have to determine. So the first one is Voices, or I don't know how to pronounce it, de Esperanza, do you know how to pronounce
Esperanza.
Voce de Esperanza, maybe?
Voce,
Yeah,
yeah.
at 348 and 337-351 Chestnut Street, preserve and rehabilitate, and that's it, that historic, and also preserve in terms of housing preserve. And that's, the applicant is the Valley Opportunity Council, and they'd like 100,000. They put 50,000 in historic, 50,000 in housing. The next one is called Developer Incentive for Holyoke Armory at 163 Sargent Street. So it's both historic and housing. And it's, the applicant is Holyoke Redevelopment Authority. 150,000 is the hope for amount. And then the last one is also a developer incentive for 123 Pine Street for both historic and housing. Holyoke Redevelopment Authority, and that's also for 150,000.
Add them all up to see what that grand total is of asks by any chance?
No, I haven't done that. I mean, I think the main, like I said, the main point is just to first see what's eligible to, so that they would then know, because even if we say, even if they're all eligible, right, then they may not have all the requirements that are needed for the application, but.
And it's more than our $1 million, just so you guys know. I just did it real quick.
Well, people asked me how much they should ask for, and I talked to you, Elaine, about this, and basically we said, you know, just ask for what you want, you know, so even if you want more than what you might end up getting, there's no problem with asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we want people to ask for enough so that if we do fund it, the project is viable.
Right.
And, you know, I think that's something that we need to look at when we get to the point of making the decision about who to recommend and who not to recommend. You know, can you actually do what you're asking for the money to do?
And I just wanted to, I just wanted to mention, so this first page has, you know, the list of the things in there. And again, you know, just notice that I wrote one thing twice and ignore that. And then the next page is this chart, which goes into more detail about what's eligible. So this is just to help you when you go through this, to figure out what's eligible, and we'll all be working on that. And then I tried to do it kind of in order of what's here.
Right.
But if you notice that something is missing, you know, it's possible that with the difficulty with the forms, that something got cut off. Just please let me know if you seem to be missing something, let me know. But there are a few applications where I had to, you know, attach a page because of the fact that not everything appeared in the field. So I noted that see attached, and it's you know, connected to that.
Now, do we also have access to this in any online form? I mean, if you're having problems printing because a field is too full, that implies that there was an electronic submission at some point, you know, a PDF or something. And if we could just dial it up ourselves.
No, you can't do that really, because it's, the way people have to submit it is they have to download the application, the PDF, onto their computer, and they have to complete it, and then they have to save and attach it, you know, to an email to me. Unless they, you know, they're...
Well, yeah, but that implies that you have a set of emails with the documents attached to them, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do. but I thought you were saying that, is there a way for you to go online somehow and find the
Well,
forms?
yeah, I mean, if, for instance, you have all of these attachments and you simply emailed them to the committee, then everyone would have an online access to it in our emails.
That's true, and maybe what I should do is put all these forms on a G Drive, Google Drive, that we can all access. The only thing is there are 3 applications that were only given to me as hard copies.
Yeah, and obviously, there's no reason to scan those and upload them, but if you're worried about our having complete applications, and the complete applications do exist as electronic documents, I would think that just emailing those to us, I hesitate to say put them on Google Drive because I have continuing issues with Google Drive, but it certainly is better than no access at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one problem I ran into, though, is there was an application that, it's hard to explain, but it looked like it was cutting off. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so I think that is a good idea. It's just that even if you have that, you might think that an application is missing information, and you just have to be careful.
It still is worthwhile to
to
check with you
scroll
if it
down.
does, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can do that. I can set
would be
something
great,
up on
thanks.
Google Drive and email everyone.
At this point, everything is complete, right? So everything that you're handing us tonight.
I think so, but I was literally working to the last
Right.
minute, and that's why I was running late, because there were things I suddenly discovered. And it was very complex figuring out the best way to collate all of this and, put it together and organize it for everyone, so. But I'll definitely be looking them over, and I'll let you know if I catch something.
Okay, thank you.
So Amy, is it your opinion that all of these projects are eligible at this point in time, or did you not make a decision on that yet? And what is the date that we need to do that by?
I don't know yet, because remember, I just got these applications on Friday.
Right,
So
yeah.
I've just been busy putting this together to distribute to you and answering questions and so forth.
Okay.
And I don't have with me, sorry, the timeline, but we can look it up.
So is it,
Because we'll have to hold a meeting before that timeline to get back to you, to let you know what we think about the eligibility, and then, and in the meantime, you can be looking at them too for their eligibility.
Absolutely, yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
that. I'm just trying to look up what our timeline is.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's right, it must be on our website, yeah.
Yeah, so we're supposed to respond by late October, so we didn't give a specific date.
So we have time, okay.
I think it would be good to do it, well, we should try to do it as soon as possible, because then there's more time for people to submit the application. Yeah.
So do we have a time? Do you,
We said late October, so we've left it intentionally unspecified, but we can give ourselves a deadline if you want.
We'll talk about a meeting at the end, and when we all have to have our stuff together and ready to make a decision on which projects are eligible, and also Amy will be ready too that night, okay?
So we expect to go project by project through and just say eligible, vote on its eligibility?
Well, my suggestion was that everybody here take 1 or 2 projects. So I don't know if you want to go through the projects and pick out which ones you want to be responsible for and take. If they are eligible, you're going to take them right to the end. You're going to follow this with Amy, go with her on the project. But I don't want everybody to have all the projects. I just want everybody to take 1 or 2. That way, it doesn't put an undue burden on everyone. I'm not taking any projects because I've done enough here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take your word for it. You're going to do the projects. So if that makes sense to you guys, I mean, it's up to you.
So if I had 2 projects, we'll have a meeting and I'll present to the board that I've reviewed this and I believe it's eligible.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I guess that there might be a situation where you think it's eligible for one of the categories or 2, but not all the categories that the applicant says or whatever. So, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I would also expect that there may be situations where you review something, you're not sure, you want to discuss it with the group before you make a final call.
Oh, yeah.
And, I personally, I will take whatever other people don't want, but I would be uncomfortable not to have at least read them over myself in the entirety before the next meeting.
You're going to have all of that information.
Yeah, so I think it
Yeah.
would be good if everybody does read them all through and take notes, but then, like Elaine said, each person could be responsible to really research in more depth, like one or two projects. And
Okay.
that way people can still give feedback to other people who are unsure on certain areas.
It's a pretty cut and dry, for the most part, whether the project's
Yeah.
eligible or not, right?
Yeah, and then the question,
Maybe-
yeah, there may be situations too, and I think that the gentleman, or Stuart Saganor mentioned this, I think, in his orientation, where you get something and it's obviously a great project and it has not been presented in a way that fits it into our rules. And then you can sometimes figure out a way to just change it enough and work with the applicant so that it does fit. And whether any of the applications that we get are for projects that are that attractive, that don't quite fit, I don't know. I'm sure it's a situation that sooner or later this committee will experience. But if we are really up on the rules and we've reviewed it in advance, there's at least a chance to work with people rather than just knock them out at the beginning.
And also, one of the things that I learned, is that what's really important to keep in mind is what is the real purpose of the project, and to try to, extract that from what you're looking at and make that the focus of the determination.
Okay, Amy, would you like to pass out the folders now to everybody?
So,
We have a checklist.
I have a conflict of interest concern and question, right? So, if I have a conflict on a project that is in one of the categories, I obviously have to recuse myself from participating in that discussion about that project.
I'm going to send you from the coalition, what is the conflict and what you have to do about it. I'm going to send that to all of you.
Oh, okay, that's good, because I need it too.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
already,
'Cause so
yeah.
if there's
Amy-
other ones, let's just say historic, right?
yeah, it's an
Amy just-
interesting
How do
point.
I deal with the other ones that are in that
Exactly,
category?
exactly. That's an interesting point, and that's a real problem.
Amy just said she sent that all to you already.
Well, she did send it, but I think that
But
the,
it's like recuse yourself, but how do you determine, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
well-
I'm thinking about myself, but I know yours is probably
yeah.
simple.
Well, I would suggest we look at the materials that the coalition has put out, and then if they don't address this, I see what your point is, and as I say, I think it's an interesting point, but then we can figure out how to address it if there isn't already state guidance on the point. Because, yeah, obviously, the odds of funding something that you have an interest in go up if you can ding the other ones that compete for that money.
Well, but I think that you have to be part of the application to recuse yourself. So I'm not part of the application, but I'm on the board of Kestrel Land Trust, and I'm on Holyoke Conservation Commission, and those are the two applicants. I think if you're not in that position, then you have a right to be a part of the discussion and the vote.
Or
I also
unless-
think that the state agency that oversees this stuff will probably extend its services to this committee's members. And I always forget its name, but in general, with conflict of interest things, there's a state agency where if you're concerned you have a conflict,
It's
you
the
can
ethics-
phone them
ethics
and
commission.
the Ethics Commission and get instant that day legal guidance about what you have to do. And you are entitled to rely on that telephone guidance.
The other thing is if you're getting any financial back from this, then you're definitely out. And you have to,
That's the key word.
yeah,
That's the key word.
financial.
The
yeah.
rest is circumstantial. The key word is, is there a monetary, in some way, shape, or form, you or maybe your family benefit monetarily? But, I mean, by definition, we all are.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us are involved one way or another with these categories. That doesn't mean we're ineligible.
Yeah. Well, no,
I mean, if you make, go
I
ahead.
think it's an interesting point, because there's the legal requirement, and when you have to recuse yourself, and then there's that sense of, on an ethical level, I know that I am unduly influenced and therefore should not be voting on this, even though I have a legal right to, and that's where it gets iffy.
Guys, relax. Relax.
Okay, if everyone will open their packet, and we'll go right to the first page here, and we're gonna put names.
Remember to cross out,
Oh,
I
yes.
did one thing twice.
Oh, the flats? Yeah.
Just cross that one.
Madam Chairman,
Last one.
Yes,
Madam Chairman, if I may, while we were sitting here, I just picked out 4 that I could do, if that's okay.
well, let's start, yes.
Oh, can you
Let's,
talk, you're going to cross that one?
yeah, cross that one out. They're
Which, the
under
flat?
historic, the third one down, it's just
Under
double.
historic, 'cause
Okay,
I-
they're double, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I got it.
So, let's just start with the first one, the Boys and Girls Club.
I'll do that.
Okay, so that'll be Kip. Okay, and, you have to recuse yourself, so
Right.
who would like to take the Glutech property?
I can do that.
Okay, Andrew. All right, the Maple Street revitalization,
Which one?
Maple Street revitalization, the first one under historic.
That could be a whole new one for me. Okay, I'll take that.
I'm sorry, what? I do, but,
You need it.
yeah. Okay, so Rosemary will do that, and the Flats Community Building Headquarters,
I'll take it.
okay, Marco. The Hoyoke Stained Glass Windows Restoration,
I'll take that.
okay, Mike. All right, next page. The Smith's Ferry Cemetery Restoration,
Can I do that one?
sure.
I did want to bother a cemetery. I like
Right.
that.
Yeah, that sounds, sounds like fun, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. The Annex Lanterns,
I can do that, that's easy peasy.
Oh, I was gonna go for that because it was
Oh,
easy.
we
Rosemary,
can do
it's
it
up to you.
together. Do you want 2 people on there? That's
No,
fine.
it doesn't, $500 on me,
Yeah,
You want me to take that?
if you want.
Okay.
okay, so Rosemary,
I'm gonna
okay,
go look at them. I've never seen them.
all right. The Victory Theater Project,
I'll do it.
okay, Mike. The Bell Skinner Music Room,
I can do that. It's easy peasy.
who's,
There's
is,
some people who aren't,
yeah,
aren't they?
Libby
Libby and Mimi
and Mike Sullivan.
Mike,
and Mike Sullivan,
Sullivan.
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna put them in here
So we'll just
somewhere.
put them in somewhere.
Yeah,
So
Now
I
you're
would,
talking.
like, Wisterios would just, which one do you want to give up, Mike?
I'm sorry?
You should take just 2.
yeah, you've got 3
don't-
now.
Well, I mean, I'm retired. I mean, I got time. You
Mike
guys
Sullivan,
may
the
be-
Victory Theater.
Yeah,
what's that?
Let's give Mike Sullivan.
the Victory
Oh,
Theater.
God. Well,
He
Madam
can
Chair,
work with you on that.
well,
Mike
okay.
and Mike?
Mike and Mike.
How about the train station for Mike Sullivan, unless you...
I'll take the train
unless
station.
You want
no,
that?
you want that
Okay,
one, you
Andrew,
take it.
you're here,
Okay.
so you're gonna get it because you're here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Voce de Esperanza, probably Libby. She
Okay.
might be familiar with them.
Yeah.
Yep, good idea.
The Developer Incentive for the Hoyoke Armory.
I can take that.
Okay,
That's a
Mimi.
good one.
And the last one, I guess that's gonna be Mike Sullivan.
Okay.
Because it's the last one left, and it's the incentive for, I can't read the first part of it, but it's something incentive for
123
123
Pine Street.
So that'll be Mike Sullivan.
If that matters. I'm happy with one.
Well,
I'll
you know
take a
what, if
second.
there's another one, Marco, that you want to work on, you can work on it with someone, whoever took it. So is there something else on there that you want to work on?
Do you want to go, do you want to take the Victory Theater, Marco, or no?
That sounds controversial to me.
Don't worry about it. Nothing you can't handle. It's nothing you can't
No, it'll
handle.
be fine.
It's easy peasy.
You want to work with Mike, you and
You
Mike?
want, you and Mike Sullivan?
Either I can take it on, if Mike already
Mike
has
and-
2, then I'll take it on.
Mike and Marco
Otherwise, I'll
for,
just get into it. I don't know anything about it. I've always heard about it.
well,
No,
then
you
that's a
don't.
good thing to find out
That's a
about.
good way. So Mike Sullivan and Marco for that one. I'll drop
So
out
that's
of,
on
Mike
the,
and
Victory.
Marco.
oh, for the Victory. Okay, so Mike Sullivan, Marco.
No, not Mike Sullivan.
On the
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Victory
giving that to
Theater?
Mike Sullivan?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
What else
Okay.
do we give Mike Sullivan?
The
We
123
gave him the
Pine Street.
123 Pine.
I thought the trains, we did the train.
I did the train station.
Oh, okay.
which one is one?
And if Libby and Mike
Well,
Sullivan
123
want to
Pine
work
should
on any
also-
of, want to work on any of these, well, you know, they can jump on board with you guys, whoever
Well,
signed up already, so.
I think I just have the one, so if you want to give me also the 123 Pine, I can
Okay,
take
you'll
that.
work with Mike Sullivan on that?
Well, I don't need to work with Mike Sullivan. I don't think that this is going to be,
I think-
frankly, the last few of these are coming out of the Planning and Economic Development Office. I'm sure that Marcos Marrero will have done his homework, and these will probably be very obvious eligibility determinations.
So I would just take Mike Sullivan off of that one, because the Victory Theater will be an endeavor. So if you take that one, Mimi, then I think that's good.
Oh, so,
What one? Which one did you want?
Oh, I want the Armory, and I will take 123
123
Pine.
Pine Street.
Right, okay.
and you don't want to work with Mike Sullivan on that?
Well, I don't think that this is going to be so complicated that in the first round of eligibility
No,
determinations,
but you're
we're
going to
need
take
do
this
it.
to the end. You're taking
Oh,
these
this-
all the way out, yeah.
Oh, I thought this was just for eligibility.
Nope,
They
this
go
is
cut the
going to be
ribbon.
your
But
projects.
wait a minute, I was
Not-
wondering that.
Unless they're not, they turn out not to be eligible. If they're not, then you're
Oh.
free from that project. But
I think this is-
whatever projects are gonna pass this eligibility and your name's on it, you're gonna take this right to the end with Amy.
Wait, this is not the deal that I thought. I mean,
No,
I-
it's.
I said that in the beginning, hello.
But that, okay, so
I did say that.
So I've done a few of these in the past, and the way that it's normally done is eligibility is reviewed by the board, and then we have the people come before us and ask questions and get ideas on the project and go through the whole thing. But it's actually, the one person I've always stayed in contact on every project is the person who's the coordinator for the committee.
Yes, but you're gonna work with her.
But so you would work with
With
Amy?
Amy.
Okay.
Amy will be the one. She's
So
gonna-
Amy would be the contact, and you would just,
all the projects.
Okay.
And you're just gonna be with her in case she has to go make a site visit and
Okay.
she can't go, you can go.
okay, perfect.
Or whatever,
Okay,
or
so
she-
we get
or if she needs some paperwork from somewhere that she can't go to, she
Then we'll
can
help
ask
her.
you to help her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who took Smith's Ferry?
Kip.
Cemetery?
Kip.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't write that. Yeah. Yeah, you better.
We know where you're
Lucky
buried.
soul gets these.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so is everybody okay with that and understands what I was talking about as to going with these projects to the end? And I don't mean as far as deciding which projects are gonna
Right.
get what, I just mean in helping Amy with those projects. You know,
Yeah.
till they're ready to be decided.
Yeah, but you're asking for a long-term commitment to an individual project at this meeting without even knowing what the project is. I mean, we haven't even read these.
But Amy's gonna be the main person. You're just gonna be helping her. She might call you to do something once in a while. I don't think it's gonna be a big deal.
Some of them may get
And I
disqualified.
think that's something
Yes.
that the committee should do.
Madam Chairman, I mean, just, it brings an interesting point. Is the 13 people, well, say, for example, 2 more come in, and we have a total of 15.
Yeah, no,
Just
they
for the sake of
can't.
discussion.
They can't, but that's okay.
Well, just for, all right, 13. I was under the impression that we determine the eligibility and do the rough homework to make sure that it's presentable and they have the money and they have the wherewithal and they have the administration to do it. But I was under the impression that they would come in here on one night or several nights and make a presentation to us as a whole, as a committee.
Yes.
So that's going to occur.
That's gonna
So by
occur.
definition, it's, we are limited. We're not.
I just want you to back up Amy on the project.
Okay, well, just when you say take it to the end, it doesn't mean that we have to get up and defend this guy's project.
Oh, no.
Well, it seems, I get that impression from you.
Well,
from
I
you.
hope I clarified what I was talking about. Did
Okay.
you understand what I
Yeah,
meant now?
right.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, yes. Okay, so everybody's got 1 or 2 projects here, and either myself or Amy will let Mike Sullivan know. Actually, did you give the Victory Theater to Mike Sullivan? Okay, so this is not Mike Balsetti, this is Mike Sullivan now,
And Marcos,
and Marco.
Marco.
Okay, so we're all set with the projects, and who's going to do what? Everybody's got 1 or 2 at least, and even the ones that aren't here. Okay, so that's it. We're all set
Okay.
with that
Oh, wow.
issue for now. Where's my agenda here? Close this out, or?
Can I ask a quick question? Have
Yes,
we,
you may ask any question, yes.
Have we, or do we have plans to notice the public of the project eligibility applications that have been received and some kind of summary? Or are,
I don't know what you mean.
well, I don't
Yeah,
know,
that's
a
an
press
interesting
release or
question,
something
is-
on the website or
Yeah.
both, or just to let the community know that we've received
These are the projects.
Yeah.
12 or 13 projects with a quick summary of them and what they're for I just,
You can put that on the
People would be
website.
interested, yeah.
Good idea.
I think once we get to the final projects that are
that are
entered
declared eligible?
and declared eligible.
Okay, so yeah, we'll put that, we're definitely gonna put all the projects that are eligible on the website. So, and we can put out a notice somehow to let people know if you wanna see what we're working on, go to the website. That's why we're trying to get a
I get
Facebook
some-
page.
Yeah, I think
Do you put 'em
waiting
all on?
until we determine what's eligible makes more sense, because people might be confused when they see that and think, oh, these are all eligible, if we just say these people
That's true.
submitted the
Yeah,
form.
or we could say the applications for eligibility of the following projects have
We
been
could do that.
received.
Yeah,
But they might get confused.
Well, I don't,
You know?
well,
don't
so these
care,
are the
I'm not-
initial applications
Yeah.
that have come
It's
in.
It's up to
being
you guys,
confused.
if you wanna do that, if you wanna put all, would,
I just,
in other words,
there's so much right now to do that, like, that,
Well, I think,
I just feel like there are other priorities that are more pressing, which is to actually, because it'll probably end up being something I would have to put up on the website,
yeah,
you know,
it would be
which,
this, it would be this thing here, just this
Oh.
2 pages,
Yeah.
that's all.
uh-huh.
Just the 2 pages, but I mean, it's up to you
Okay.
guys, take them all, if you wanna, put them on, okay.
well, let us defer this till 2 weeks from now when we know a little more about what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Great.
That's always a good sign.
Right, so
Read the
now,
materials before we...
so now we have election of officers, and we should have done this in July. We have to do it every year. And just so noted that everybody who has an office right now, we're going to be starting our second year if we remain in these positions, and that is the end. We're done after 2 years. Someone else has to take over. So if you don't want to do anything different now, keep in mind that a year in July, you're going to have to take over. Someone else is going to have to take over
only
these
serve
positions. Can only
for 2
serve, it's
years.
right in our rules, 2 years, 2-year terms.
And I think this is a good time for me to raise something that I've already raised with our chair, which is, as you all may have noticed, I am not a natural administrator. And I have been struggling with this secretary role because I do not traffic papers well. I don't remember what has been in, which minutes have been submitted and which aren't. And with this kind of eligibility determination and review of projects coming up, I just am not convinced that I'm going to have the time to continue in the secretary role, or that I'm the person best placed to do it. So if somebody else would take it over, I would be grateful.
Nominate
Okay,
Mike
so-
Sullivan.
Cool. I'll nominate Kip Foley as secretary.
Okay, so for now, let's start with the chair of the committee. Is there any nominations for chair?
Elaine Pluta?
Second.
Okay, any other nominations? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Vice chair nominations?
Mike Falsetti.
Second.
Any discussion, any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, secretary, is there any nominations?
I'm nominating Kip Foley. who
No,
just-
no, no.
Oh, I thought you just
I'm not even sure I'm
volunteered.
going to be here.
Hey,
No,
Oh.
I haven't been.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, Mike doesn't come to the
Yeah, I'm
meeting.
not sure I'm going to be here, frankly. We have our elections in October, and I don't know that the planning board won't replace me.
I think you're a great administrator.
Oh, well, thank you.
Personally, I think you're doing a great
doing a
job,
good
too. I really do.
Could you hang in there one more year?
Do you think you can do it? I mean, can you stretch it out for one more year?
If you guys don't mind the trailing minutes, because the minutes are probably going to continue to trail.
That's okay.
You've
what
done
we
like.
very well.
We haven't
First
had,
year is
we haven't,
tough.
yeah, we haven't had any complaints about that at all, so we're okay with that.
Well,
We'll give you a Christmas
and-
gift.
Are we under discussion? So
Yes,
maybe, can we table that and see if Libby'd be willing to do it at the next meeting? And then if she is, I mean, I get not wanting to do that. That's a lot of
Yeah,
work,
it-
a lot of,
Thankless
you know,
job.
if you're stretched thin. So
Thankless
I'm just,
job.
if you want to, that's,
Well, I'm happy to wait to see if there are any other people who are willing to do this. Otherwise, I suppose one more year and then I'm out. I mean, I'm out by rule anyway, so.
Okay.
it's up to you.
Okay, so is there a nomination for secretary?
God bless her. Amy.
Say the name.
Mimi.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Yes.
Okay, any other nominations or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mimi,
Thank you, Mimi.
and thank you, Mike.
No, thank
for
you all.
vice
Now I'm all
chair.
embarrassed and need to hide under the table.
Okay, treasurer, is there a nomination for treasurer?
I nominate Mr. McMahon, who's been doing a heroic job with this.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Okay, so we're in it for another year, so in the meantime, please be thinking about who would like to take over these positions in next July. Okay?
Okay,
All
our
right.
next meeting, Madam Chairman?
Are you already, okay, wait a minute.
Oh, I didn't, is that our last
Okay,
item?
reports of coalition, you already sent everybody the one that we talked about, the conflict of interest? The conflict of interest.
I thought you were talking about the CP forms, but yeah, I sent that
Okay.
conflict of interest article for everybody to read.
And then in addition, the CP2 and CP3, yes. Okay,
Yeah,
the one from the assessors went out already
Right.
September 15th.
right.
Would you guys like?
And we didn't have to do the CP3 because we didn't have any
Okay,
projects,
so it
I
must be
think.
CP1
So it's
and
just CP2 that is yet to go out, which I will remind the right people.
Okay, yes, that's the auditor. He already did it because he gave me that information, so. Okay, so our coalition reports will be all set. Do you guys want a copy of those reports in for yourselves, or is it okay if we just put them, print it out, put it in the binder?
That's good.
If that's okay? All right, okay. All right, thank you, Amy. And, okay, anything else under other business? Anybody have anything else we need to talk about tonight? And Ryan, you're gonna get straightened out with your pay, please. Yeah, that's priority, really.
Do we want to figure out the next meeting time to discuss the eligibility?
Yes.
So, the final item on the agenda is our next meeting date. So let's everybody get their calendar out, look and see what's available. I have the dates for, the high school. The only night that we can't do it up there is once a month when they have the, school committee meeting. So if we need to go up there, it has to be a night that it's not school committee.
Why did we end up here tonight instead of the annex?
Well, originally, last year, every Monday night, the city council always had a meeting here, so we would have to move. We'd start our meeting and then have to move it. But for some reason, tonight, and Ryan, you can explain this if you want.
With Finance Committee is, I think, going to start meeting on Wednesdays. There's still a lot of Mondays. Monday's still going to be a popular day to have meetings for the council, but Finance has been the ones that we've been battling with the most for the change. They look like they're going to be going away.
Okay, so the next school
I
committee,
think probably we should meet before then, just
the next school committee meeting is October 15th. So we have to avoid that night unless, if we want to use the high school room, if we can't have this one.
I would guess if you're taking
Well,
this
this
stuff
day coming
now,
up too.
probably check in.
I'll be gone then. I'm back
maybe
October
2
9th.
weeks or 3 weeks just to report preliminary stuff and go over anything with a problem. And then we don't have to report out till the end of October, but if we're,
2 weeks from tonight is October 1st, or we could
Yeah, I
go
think-
to another week to October 9th.
We cannot go to October 9th because I have like a permanent,
8th,
yeah.
I meant to say 8th.
8th is Columbus Day.
Yeah, Columbus Day.
So forget that one. So do you want to go for October 1st?
Yeah, I think it's worth,
Okay, so I won't be here, but, no, but I can meet with Amy before that.
Yeah, okay, good, perfect.
Is the function for the October 1st meeting to all of us to give back to you and to Amy the eligibility of our individual assignments?
Yes.
Okay.
So do we want to make this meeting at 6 or 6:30? There was some confusion about that for this meeting.
That was my mistake.
Okay.
I don't know why I said 6:30, no, but we've been meeting at 6 right along.
Okay, so we want it at 6?
Yes.
Okay.
10, 1,
10-1.
6. And we're going to do that at the high school, is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we can do it at the high school. We don't know yet if, we'll know the week before if
Okay, so it
there's
doesn't
going to
matter,
be a
we'll say
city
from
council
one
meeting, yeah.
Location.
If there's not a city council meeting, we'll meet here. If there's going to be a city council meeting, we'll meet at the high school,
Which,
Okay.
it's Holyoke High School?
or at high school, yeah. Okay,
A motion to adjourn?
if we're all set, okay, motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairman, a subcommittee meeting of the Budget Committee, do you want to set that now?
Yes, we'll do that after we're done. After we adjourn, the four of us will get
Oh,
together,
okay.
okay?
So you're
Motion to
looking,
adjourn,
so moved.
second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.